Welcome back into Talking Fitchburg. Joining me today from our assessing department, it is your assessor, and it is Amy Mercer. Welcome back to the show. How are you doing today?
I'm doing good, Jeremy. How are you?
I'm doing wonderful. Thank you so much for taking the time out to talk with us today. We wanted to get you earlier, but you're busy, right? You're busy doing a lot of stuff there in the assessing department. But we're in the middle of open book, and more importantly, we do want to get the information out on how all of this works as you are working through this time, because transparency is important when it comes to understanding your assessment. And assessors are out there to help you. Doesn't always feel that way, but they are here to help you, and our team is awesome. So Amy, let's jump into it first. The 2022 year was considered a reevaluation assessment year. What does that mean?
So there's two different types of assessment years. There's maintenance years and revaluations. A maintenance year means we review all the sales, we'll review building permits, fires, etc. But we do not adjust assessments based on markets. A revaluation, we do all of the steps in a maintenance year, but we do those additional steps of bringing assessments to the market value. So our goal in a revaluation is to set your assessment at the market value as of January 1 of that calendar year.
All right. It's good information to know the process of how it works. So we've established the reevaluation year, or whether it's reevaluation, or it's a maintenance year. It was a reevaluation year. We're in the open book after you received all your assessments in the mail. We get into the open book, then board of review. Let's break down looking at an assessment. So you have an example of an assessment, and I told you, I said, we want to go through this as you see this, you open it up and you're like, what? So we want to break that down. So you open up that screen for us, and let's take a peek here at what we're looking at when it comes to our assessment.
All right. So this is an example of one of our assessment notices. So of course it's going to have the city logo and information on there, and it will state that this is a 2022 notice of assessment. This is not a tax bill. So make sure you understand that it's not a tax bill. This is just telling you where your new assessment is. It'll tell you your tax key number or your parcel number. Those two terminologies go interchangeable, tax key and parcel. The legal description, and we redacted the property address on this one just for that owner's confidentiality, but it'll have your property location on there. Then there is the assessment years. So there's 2021s and 2022. So as of January 1 of 2021, this was the previous assessment. This 88,400 was the land value, the buildings and improvements, and then the total assessment. Now this building and improvements, that does not mean that you made improvements to your property. That is the portion of your value of the buildings and structures on that property. So the improvements to the land is what that is. So in this notice, the 2022 gives you the new value of the land, the new value for all of those structures or improvements to that land, your house, your garage, your business, depending on what classification it is, etc. And then that total assessment. And then it tells you what that change of assessment is, okay, in dollars. And then below that, it'll have a reason for change. And it'll say what that reason is for land and improvements. In this case, both of these say revalue on them. If it was a new house, it might also say new construction. We use a lot of acronyms because the space is only so big. So if it says something like data core, that means data correction. In many cases, it might say something like COR, core, SF, per elec and sketch. So what it's saying is basically on our end, we're trying to relay that we drew it electronically in our CAMA system. And so somehow that square footage was altered, usually it's slightly, that previously someone sketched it on paper and hand calculated that math. And now the computer, when we sketch it electronically, will make those corrections and automatically calculate that square footage. Below that, telling you what that reason is, we'll list the open book dates. We'll list the board review dates and the city assessor. And this is our main phone number that you would call to contact us to schedule an appointment. And then it also lists the municipal clerk and their phone number, who you would contact if you chose to go the next step beyond open book and attend board review. And then on the notice, it talks about the assessment information. Our assessment date is always January 1 of each year, is how we value properties. And here where it says our assessment level, our general level of assessment, we're estimating it to be 100% because we did revalue this year. And that's our goal, to have your assessment match where that market is, where those sales are telling us it would be. And then at the bottom, it goes into how to appeal your assessment. First discuss it with your assessor, and that's during that open book period. And then to file that formal appeal, that's where you would schedule with the city clerk, at least that 48 hours that I mentioned earlier. And we also list on here, the state creates a guide for property owners each year. And so you can go out and view that. That explains the assessment process, the appeal process, and all of that. We have copies, you can always get a paper copy from us if you need one. We also have that link on our city's website also.
All right. Well, we'll save the rest of the time here, Amy, for understanding. So when you're looking at no matter, whether we have the example there or you're looking at yours and you're saying, all right, mine went up. That one, it said that the difference there was 63, we'll just say 63 and some change, 1,000 up. And no matter what it is, and I know that's very open because every property, every lot, is different. But when you're looking at an overall trend here, and pick any neighborhood or that example, and somebody sees it goes up and they're like, either A, I didn't do anything to my property, I didn't do anything to my, and they're just generally saying, well, why did it go up then? What is your response?
So typically, if it states it's just revaluation, then that typically means your neighborhood increased that amount, that percentage. So when we analyze the sales, we'll look at the new sale prices of those properties that sold compared to that last assessment. And let's say all of those sales within a neighborhood are showing us that neighborhood, the last assessment is 10% less than what those sales are coming in. Then we'll apply a 10% market adjustment to that neighborhood to bring things in line with where those sales are. We don't chase a sale, so we're not supposed to do that. So we shouldn't be setting it exactly at that sale price because you lose uniformity by doing that. You might have 5 condos that are all the same, but buyers and sellers have different reasons for taking the price they do. So you might have 5 condos and one might sell for 300,000, one for 310, one for 305, one for 298, and one for 300 again. So we'll take that average and maybe all 5 will come in at 302. Because the principle behind assessments, it's done for ad valorem tax purposes, and they should all be equitable if they are truly the same property. Sometimes property owner will say, my house is just like my neighbor's. You know, why is mine higher than my neighbor's? And then when we look at it, it's not just like your neighbor's. Your neighbor's is 2 stories and yours is 1 story. You have 2,000 square feet on first floor and 2,000 square feet of a basement, whereas they have 1,000 feet of a basement, 1,000 of first and 1,000 of second. So they're not the same, and that means their assessments. What we see is the sales tell us that they don't sell the same. Even though it's both 1,000 square feet, they don't sell the same. So we really let those sales talk to us. And that's what we're doing. We're analyzing what that market did and what our buyers and sellers are doing.
All right, Amy. Well, we didn't get to everything that we were hoping to today, but scratching the surface here a little bit on what's going on here behind the scenes, I think is awesome. I appreciate your time. I know it's very busy. Thank you to all your staff for your hard work. You're here to listen. You're here to answer questions, and please, I come to Amy all the time. I don't even live in Fitchburg, and I come to Amy and say, hey, Amy, can you explain this to me? And the team is awesome. So, Amy, thank you so much for taking the time. We'll look forward to getting you back on again real soon. But appreciate it. Check the website for more information. You got a mailer in the mail that had some frequently asked questions. The website has great questions. Again, schedule a time to during this open book period to talk with the assessor and learn a little bit more. So every property is unique, but you'll keep up the good work, Amy.